welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Wreckfest video. Now, I've made quite a few Wreckfest videos here on the channel. I have put a link up at the top of the screen there to the playlist if you want to go and check any of them out. But every single video I've put up, I've been asking you guys to suggest what you'd like to see added to the game. And what I want to do in this video is just focus entirely on the vehicles that you've been suggesting. Now, this isn't going to cover every single suggestion that I've had. However, these are the most popular ones that I've had. There'll also be a few honourable mentions in there as well, but I'll get to those at the end. Now, I'm always asking for comments on every single video I do. It's not only just to get suggestions like this, but I do absolutely love just chatting with you guys down there, and it's the easiest way to get hold of me if you do want to talk to me about absolutely anything. But on top of that, we know just how much Bugbear are listening to the community. They're answering pretty much every single question or request that we have put forward to them so far. And the game just continues to improve, and the content that is coming out for it is just absolutely amazing. So videos like this and your comments really do help Bugbear understand exactly what the community wants. So it's important that we continue to do this moving forward, and hopefully we might just see some of these crazy suggestions and some of the more sensible ones come to actually be in the game quite soon. So if you like any of the suggestions you see today, please make sure you hit that like button. It really will let Bugbear know if they do decide to watch this video, if the community are interested in this type of content moving forwards. Okay, so up first we've got the cherry picker and also the scissor lift. I've put these ones together, and what I'm going to do for you here is put pictures on screen of each of these vehicles just to give you an idea of what to expect within the game. Now, either of these options would be a really interesting addition. Obviously, depending on how Bugbear wanted to play it, they could have it fully extended up, or it could just be slightly extended up. But you're going to have your driver at the top of either the scissor lift or the cherry picker there. So it's going to be incredibly top heavy, very prone to going over. But it might actually work a little bit like the combine harvester that we've already got in the game, in the sense that your player is exposed at the top, but it would take for it to go all the way over for you to actually wreck. On top of this, some of you guys are actually requesting that Bugbear add in additional sort of movements for these vehicles that we're not currently seeing, so they wouldn't just be a matter of driving it round a track. So some of you suggesting that you do have a button mapped to the controller that would actually mean you could raise the height or lower the height of the scissor lift. Now, there's going to be absolutely no benefit to having it higher other than just your own amusement, but obviously taking it as low as possible is going to lower that center of gravity. And actually, in the example of the cherry picker, it might actually become quite a stable vehicle and quite usable. But either way, I think both of them would make a great addition to the game, and I really do keep my fingers crossed that maybe we'll see this one come at some point. The next suggestion I've got here is for an ambulance. Now, this makes a lot of sense, to be honest, to have this one in the game. It could be based off the van that we've already seen come into it already, but it would be really nice to see some little touches, and maybe a stretcher inside the vehicle, so as the back doors get broken off, you see that stretcher come rolling out onto the track. It'd just be an interesting one. But equally, I think the emergency services side of things have been really popular. You'll see that as we go through the rest of the list, but I definitely think it would be good to start getting some cars with sirens, having some flashing light options on there as well. So again, fingers crossed we will be seeing this one sooner rather than later. Next up, we've got a milk float. Now, I'm not entirely sure if everyone around the world will know exactly what that is, but here in the UK, if you do order your milk and get it delivered to your house, it comes around on a float in kind of the early hours of the morning. Incredibly slow, normally electric vehicles, but this would be the first electric vehicle added to the game, and I think it would be quite an interesting one. Now, from a racing aspect, it would definitely need to have a lot more power than they do in real life, but that is definitely something they could easily do within the game. My guess would be that it would be incredibly flimsy. You'd have to be avoiding as many opponents as possible to try and get into that podium position. But equally, you could have so much fun with this if they did manage to fit the crates on the back of it filled with the bottles of milk, and you just watch them smashing all over the track once people start bashing into you. Once again, another great suggestion, something that I would love to see come to the game. But like I say, if this one is purely UK based, I'm not sure if anyone else has these milk floats, then the chances are we probably won't see it added in. Now the fourth request I've got here is a very sensible one and something that already exists. It's NASCAR. Now it seems that every single Wreckfest video I do, I hear from you guys down in the comments that you really want to see this come over to the consoles, and I completely understand that. Unfortunately, not having mods available on consoles and only on PC, it means that it is extremely unlikely at the moment. However, it is hugely popular over on the PC, and it is something that I personally would also like to see transferred over. So all we can really do is pray that this actually happens. Now, I'm sure Bugbear are aware that there's so many people out there that want to see this, along with obviously loads of different tracks as well that are available on PC, which I will probably get onto in a separate video. But this NASCAR stuff really does need to come over if they can do it at all. But like I say, with this one, we've just got to hope that it does actually come over. Next up, and heading back to the crazy stuff, we've got a snow plow, which again, what a great suggestion this one was. I mean, imagine having a plow on the front of a truck and just plowing all the way through your opponents. It's going to feel very much like the Doom rig when we first got to play with that on the tournament when you were going against the flow of the traffic. I just think a plow is a superb idea, very easily implemented into the game. Again, it could just be based off any one of the trucks that's already in there, just with the plow on the front of it. Again, hopefully we may well see this one actually come to the game. So once again, keep your hands together and pray that this one will be with us sooner rather than later. Okay, so next we've got the vehicle that is in the thumbnail. It's a Tuk Tuk. Again, something that I can very easily see actually being added into the game here. Another great suggestion, and definitely one that would slot into the car categories that we already have within the game. Probably going to be a close rival to something like the Robin Reliant that we already have in there. But equally, things like the Outhouse and some of the sort of more crazy stuff is going to be well suited to racing against this. Obviously, only having 3 wheels, I think it would be, again, very easy to set this one up basically on the same shell as that Robin Reliant. It's going to want to go over if you push it too hard, but at the same time, that car is so much fun to already use within the game. It's so tail happy. You can just drift all the way around figure of 8 courses using it. So again, like I say, a great suggestion, definitely something that's easily implemented and hopefully something that we will see soon. Next up, we've got a vehicle that has been again suggested a number of times, and it's actually something that we can see in the game. Now, I need to be a little bit careful here what I call it, because in my last video, someone actually got in touch in the comments and told me that it was definitely a cat and not a JCB. But either way, you get the idea. It needs to be some form of digger or large plant equipment. So it's going to be a bit of a tank. It's going to be able to take a lot of damage, also dish out a lot of damage, but equally, it's probably not going to handle the best. Something a little bit like the combine harvester or something similar to that anyway. But yeah, again, another great suggestion, something that I think could be implemented quite easily. As you can see on the screen at the moment, like I say, it is already in the game, but not as a playable vehicle. It is just part of the background. But building on something like that, certainly with the forks on the front of it, I think it could definitely be quite a devastating vehicle and something you could have a load of fun in. The next suggestion was a difficult one as to whether I should actually put it in separately or put it in that last category. However, I have done it separately. It's a forklift. Now, the reason I've gone for this separately is obviously just from a huge scale difference between something like the JCB, the Cat, and then the forklift itself. Similar kind of weaponry on the front of it. However, this one is going to be a lot more likely to go over. It's going to be a lot less armoured as well. So could make for an interesting little vehicle. In a similar way to the milk float that I mentioned earlier on, a lot of these are actually fully electric vehicles, so it would be interesting to see if they would put it in like that. So maybe give it a load of torque so it does pull away nice and fast, great acceleration, but maybe not the best of top speeds. Similar in many ways to the Pocket Rocket, but obviously just a little bit bigger. But that kind of handling model I think would work perfectly on this. And again, it would be really interesting to see this one added to the game. Now, number 9, it's another hugely popular one here. It's a big one. It's the fire truck. Another solid suggestion here, and definitely one that I would love to see come to the game. Now, you being as creative as you guys are, a lot of you have actually been asking for this one to have a working water cannon on top of it. Now, that would be amazing. Probably very unlikely that we would ever see that added to the game. but just imagine being able to shoot the water cannon out of the cars and actually direct them off the track as you're driving along. Like I say, incredibly unlikely that that would ever happen, but looking at it from a standard point of view without the water cannon on it, it would still be a great addition. Obviously, probably quite similar to the bus that we've already got in the game. It's definitely not going to be particularly fast. However, add to that some flashing lights, sirens, and some amazing liveries, and I definitely don't think you can go too far wrong with this one. It seems like a relatively sensible choice, and I think it is probably something that we will see come to the game, just depending on how long they run their DLC program for. And lastly, without a doubt, the biggest suggestion that I've had come down, and it's come down a few times now, and it's for a bendy bus to be added to the game. If you've ever seen Top Gear and you watch them race these around a track while smashing into each other, you'll know what a great suggestion this one actually is. The unpredictability of that back end just slapping around and taking out opponents left, right and centre, but equally having the ability to pull you off the track and ruin your race would just make for such an interesting thing to use. This one, in terms of development, is going to take a little bit, certainly from a physics point of view, working out exactly what that back end would be doing to the front part of the bus as well. However, I really have firmly got my fingers crossed for this one. It's something that I would love to see enter the game. Obviously, it's not going to work particularly well on some of the smaller tracks, but equally, that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun just trying to get it round them. But hey, Bugbear, if you are watching, and I really do hope you are, please take note of some of this list. There is some really important vehicles here that I would personally love to see added to the game, but equally there is so many people in this community that want to see this game grow and just continue to get better and better, and so far you definitely haven't let us down. As I mentioned earlier though, there are a few honourable mentions that I do need to put at the end of this video, and there's quite a few of them, to be honest with you. So there is the police car, obviously another great addition. I just didn't put it into the list directly because we've already got the fire truck in there, the ambulance as well, but it's just another one that they could add to that list. On top of that, I had someone get in contact with me, and only one person has ever mentioned this, and that's having aeroplanes within the game. Obviously just running along the track without any wings attached, maybe the larger ones, but equally some smaller planes would work as well. It would make, again, for some interesting driving, the fact that you would have the wings protruding from the side of your vehicle, as do all of your opponents, and you're going to be spinning out all over the place if you do come in contact with one another. Lastly, it's another big one, but it is one that I decided to keep off the list. It's been requested over and over and over again. It's for a tank. Now, this seems to make a great deal of sense on the surface to add one of these to the game. However, from a playability point of view, I mean, what would you have? Would you have a tank that's ridiculously fast? Probably not. It's probably going to be quite slow. Very, very heavily armoured. If there's a whole load of them on the track at once, it's actually probably going to make for some quite boring racing. Obviously, add working guns and things to it, it's going to become a little bit more interesting, but I think that takes away from the whole racing side of things, so probably quite unlikely, but you never know, we might see it come to the game. Equally though, another great suggestion, just like every suggestion I've had. I do love hearing from all you guys and what you would like to see put into the game. So keep those suggestions coming down. I will, like I say earlier, try and put together a video for tracks that you guys would like to see added as well. So if you have got any suggestions on that, please do use that comment section down below. Let me know, and you may well see your selection in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed it today. It's been a little bit of a change of pace. I've definitely enjoyed putting this one together. Thanks for coming by the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.